Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. What if the one secret you've buried your entire life suddenly comes back standing right in front of you? And what if telling the truth doesn't fix anything, but actually breaks everything apart? So here's where things get intense. Steffi Forrester, a woman we have always known as strong, fearless, and in control, starts acting differently, more guarded, more distant, and slowly we find out why. A young woman named Lily, who everyone welcomed with open arms, isn't just another addiction to the extended family. She's actually Steffi's daughter, the child she gave up in secret years ago. When the truth finally comes out, it doesn't bring relief. It brings emotional chaos, heartbreak, and consequences no one is ready for. The story begins so quietly that you almost don't notice how heavy it feels at first. Steffi Forrester, someone who has faced danger, heartbreak, and drama more times than we can count, suddenly seems off. Not in a dramatic way, not in a loud, obvious way, but in those subtle, uncomfortable silences. The kind where you can tell something is weighing on her, even if she refuses to say it out loud. She's always been a fiercely protective mother, a powerhouse in business, and someone who doesn't back down easily. But now, there's hesitation in her voice. There's distance between her and Finn, her husband, and even when she's talking to her mother. Taylor, it feels like she's holding something back, like there is a truth sitting right on the edge of her lips, and she just can't let it out. And at the center of all this tension is Lily. Now, Lily came into the picture months ago, introduced as a distant relative connected to someone in the Forrester circle. At first, she blended it almost effortlessly. People loved her. She had this calm, kind energy, intelligent, gentle, and quietly strong. She reminded a lot of longtime viewers of those classic soap heroines, the ones who didn't need to be loud to be powerful. But even from the beginning, something about her past didn't quite add up. There was always this little question mark hanging over her story. And interestingly, Steffi seemed drawn to her right away. She went out her way to support Lily, to include her, to defend her when others were unsure. At first, it felt like generosity, like Steffi was just being kind. But then, those little moments started to stand out. A look that lasted just a second too long. A pause that felt too heavy. The way Steffi reacted whenever Lily mentioned not knowing where she truly came from, and those tears in Lily's eyes. Yeah, those weren't random. And slowly, piece by piece, the truth begins to surface. We are taken back more than 20 years to a version of Steffi we have never really seen before. Young, scared, overwhelmed, she finds herself facing an unplanned pregnancy at the time when everything in her life is already under pressure, especially with the weight of the Forrester name hanging over her. And in that moment, she makes a decision that changes everything. To protect herself from judgment, from scandal, from potentially destroying her future, she gives birth in secret. With the help of someone she trusts, someone outside the family, she puts her baby girl up for adoption. Quietly, silently, like it never happened. Only a handful of people ever knew. And as the years passed, even those connections faded away. Steppy pushed the memory deep down, convincing herself it was the right thing to do. And for years, she kept moving forward. She built her life, her career, her family. She became the strong, unstoppable woman everyone admires. But here's the thing about the past, it doesn't stay buried forever. Everything changes the moment Steffi discovers an old document hidden among her late grandmother's belongings. Something she was never meant to find. It has details about that adoption, a name, a date, enough to make her heart stop. And when she starts digging, putting the pieces together, the truth hits her harder than anything ever has before. Lily is her daughter. Can you imagine that moment? Realizing that the person you have been helping, protecting, connecting with is the child you gave away. It's overwhelming, emotional, life changing. And for long-time viewers, this isn't just a twist. It's a complete redefinition of who Steffi is. It shows that even the strongest people carry wounds they never show. But now comes the hardest part. What does she do with this truth? Does she tell Lily? Does she risk destroying everything Lily believes about her life? Or does she stay silent and live with the guilt forever? Finn becomes her anchor through all of this. He's calm, patient, supportive, the kind of partner who doesn't push, but gently encourages her to face the truth. He listens, reassures, and reminds her that honesty, no matter how painful, is necessary. And then there's Taylor. Those scenes between Steffi and her mother, they hit deep. Taylor understands both the emotional and psychological weight of the situation. She doesn't sugarcoat it. She tells Steffi to think beyond herself, to consider how this truth will affect Lily long term. And in one powerful moment, she reminds her that secrets never stay hidden forever. And when they come out, they should come from love. Eventually, the moment arrives. Steffi asks Lily to meet her somewhere quiet, away from all the chaos of the Forrester world. No distractions, no interruptions, just the two of them. And the scene is beautifully simple. No dramatic music, no sudden twist, just raw emotion. Steffi starts speaking, and you can hear it. In her voice, she is shaking. She talks about her past, her fear, the decision that's haunted her for decades. Lily listens, confused at first, then slowly, painfully, the truth begins to sink in. And then Steffi says it. You are my daughter. And just like that, everything changes. The silence that follows is almost unbearable. Lily's reaction is exactly what you would expect, and maybe even more intense. Shock, anger, pain, betrayal. She feels like her entire life has been flipped upside down. She questions everything: her past, her identity, her place in the world. All this time you knew. She asks, her voice breaking, and Steffi, equally broken, admits she only recently discovered the truth. But that doesn't take away Lily's pain. She doesn't ask for forgiveness. She just admits she couldn't keep the secret any longer. What follows is a series of deeply emotional moments that explode the aftermath. Lily struggles to process everything. Her sense of self is shaken. She doesn't know who she is anymore. And Steffi, she has to face the consequences of her silence, the damage, the trust that now has to be rebuilt from scratch. The entire Forrester family feels the impact. Reggie is stunned to learn he has a granddaughter he never knew existed. Taylor, while more composed, is heartbroken for both of them. Even Brooke gets pulled into the emotional storm, offering her own perspective on love, loss, and hidden truths. But it's not all darkness. There are small, quiet moments that hint at healing: a hesitant conversation, a soft smile, a fragile connection trying to form. One particularly touching moment comes when Steffi shows Lily old photographs, pieces of a past she never got to share. It's her way of opening up, of trying to bridge the gap between what was lost and what could still be found. And yet, despite all of this, Steffi is falling apart, not because of an external threat, but because of something she created, something she now has to face. Late night scenes show her alone, surrounded by memories, drowning in guilt. Finn stays by her side, but even he starts to feel the weight of it all. At one point, he gently reminds her that telling the truth doesn't magically fix everything. And Steffi's response, it's heartbreaking. She doesn't expect everything to be okay. She just hopes Lily doesn't hate her. And that's where everything shifts. Because this story isn't about a secret anymore. It's about the consequences of finally telling the truth. What makes this storyline so powerful isn't just the reveal, it's what comes after. It shows that honesty doesn't always bring immediate healing. Sometimes it breaks everything open first. This is a story about identity, about the long term impact of choices made in fear, and about how silence can shape lives in ways we don't even realize. It also explores a very real question: was Steffi protecting Lily all those years? Or was she protecting herself from facing this exact moment? And that question changes everything because Lily isn't just dealing with a new truth. She's grieving the life she thought she had and rebuilding that's not quick, that's not easy. Honestly, this storyline hit me hard because it feels real, messy, uncomfortable, emotional in a way that doesn't try to wrap everything up neatly. And that's what makes it so good. I don't think Steffi is a villain here, but she's definitely not free from responsibility either. And Lily, her reaction is completely justified. What I love most is that this story doesn't rush forgiveness. It lets the pain exist. It lets the characters sit in that discomfort. And that's something we don't always see. So now we are left with some big questions. Can Lily ever truly forgive Steffi? Or is this the kind of wound that never fully heals? And what happens if more secrets from the past start coming out? If you were in Lily's position, could you forgive a mother who waited this long to tell you the truth? And if you are Steffi, would you have made the same choice back then or taken a completely different path? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear your take on this. And if you are invested in this emotional roller coaster, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because something tells me this story is only just beginning.